It's been a long time since I've been to the town of Timmins, Ontario. The last time I was there was over a decade ago when I was racing snowmobiles, and it's been even longer since I've actually ridden a snowmobile in the Timmins area. Most of the time when I do a travel story like this one, I bring somebody with me, I bring a friend. But this trip's a little different. I'm going on my own for two reasons. First, this trip is shortly after Christmas and most people have already used up all their holidays. And second, I thought it might be a little different, a little unique to go on my own and experience Timmins at my own pace. I don't think it's ever a good idea to ride alone, especially not in an area you're not familiar with. So for this trip, I thought it would be smart to hook up with some locals. So I hooked up with the president of the Snowmobile Club, Mark, and a tourism director whose name was Guy, and they showed me the best that Timmins has to offer.
The trails in Timmins are very unique because we have a lot of access routes, access trails that will actually have loops around the city as well as in the city. There's not very many cities in Ontario that will have loops inside the actual core of their downtown.
Timmins is really a focal point for riding snowmobiles in Northern Ontario. They have such a unique and diverse set of trails and such a vast trail network in the area that it really is kind of a central point for a lot of things that happen on snowmobiles in Northern Ontario. It's one of the starting places for the famous Gold Rush Tour. It's also a really important starting place for the Abitibi Canyon Tour and the Corridor Loop Tour. Timmins is known as the city with a heart of gold, and that's largely because its history is very much ingrained in gold mining. That's where Timmins kind of got its start. But the name continues on and it becomes more valid as time goes on because people in Timmins are extremely friendly, and more importantly for us, they're extremely friendly to snowmobilers.
We have a large snowmobiler base here in Timmins. Because we are a large enough city, we have a lot of amenities as well as hotels and restaurants, so there's a lot of riders from outside the area that can stage here in Timmins and can access the trail right away, which is fantastic.
The second we left our hotel, I knew immediately this was going to be a great experience. The trails were A, perfectly groomed, B, they were diverse, they were twisty, they were straight, there was ups and downs, hill sections, there was all kinds of unique stuff, and C, they were really easy to navigate thanks to fantastic signage and a really well laid out trail plan. So I think the trails in Timmins are among the best organized and best maintained trails I think maybe I've ever ridden. One of the more unique features of riding around Timmins is the InTown trail network. We rode on a groomed snowbank between two major parking lots of big retail outlets that brought us down into our gas station parking lot for the day. And we even experienced riding over an old train overpass that crosses 4 lanes of busy traffic and has now been dedicated just to snowmobile use within the city limits.
One of the unique features of riding inside Timmins is we're able to use an older rail line overpass that was downtown Timmins and now it's being used as a snowmobile trail. It accesses many amenities, restaurants, local dealership, as well as hotels. So everything is right there, and again, it's right inside the city.
I think access to these types of amenities is important because a snowmobiler wants to know that when they're in a town they've never been to, they can easily get to the things they're going to need. Fortunately, partway through the day, our in-town trail loop that we were riding led us directly to the front door of a full-on chain restaurant that welcomed snowmobilers with open arms. We were able to go inside, have a great meal, get warmed up. The sleds we parked right outside the restaurant, right out front, so we knew they were safe. And it was kind of a perfect example of how in Timmins, everything you need, you snowmobile to. Stopping for lunch is always great, but the truth of the matter is we're here to ride, and I'm looking forward to what the afternoon portion of the ride has to offer. After lunch, we headed out from the restaurant, and our guide wanted us to see some of the unique features outside of the city, or on your way out of the city of Timmins.
After lunch, we suited up and took another trail out, again inside the city. On the way out, we traveled underneath a tunnel that was built by our local mining company here.
It's huge. They can drive the groomer right through this tunnel, and it's kind of a corridor from the inner city trails to the trails outside of the city, and our afternoon loop took us kind of around the outskirts of the city. The trails outside the city of Timmins are really the focal point for your ride. The nice thing is that you can experience them all and still end up back at your hotel in the evening. So you can ride great trails and not have to go on a multi-day tour if you don't want to.
A lot of the way our trails are is we have some twists and turns that are very enjoyable, very easy to negotiate. Again, flat and wide, and you can easily see snowmobiles coming towards you. And we have a lot of straight stretches too in Timmins with trees pretty much like a tunnel, and you're traveling on a nice flat trail straight. There's some dips. It's really a lot of unique features that way on the trail, and just the scenery is just fantastic. It's a lot of things that you'd never be able to see otherwise on a snowmobile.
I have to say, it was refreshing and really nice to do this tour just on my own with my two new guide friends from Timmins, Mark and Guy. It was nice because I just got to follow them. I didn't have to think about where anybody else was or what anybody else was worried about. I just got to get on my sled, follow these guys, ride the greatest trails that they could find in their own area, and enjoy the whole experience. And it was different than what I've done in the recent past, and I really enjoyed it.
If you're a snowmobiler and you want to have a lot of fun, you need to come up to Timmins. It's really different compared to a lot of other places. As well as being a city the size of over 40,000 people, we have all the amenities as well as trails inside. It's a very unique experience coming here to snowmobile, and you have a great time. We hear all the time from people from outside, either Southern Ontario or anywhere else, telling us that Timmins is a great place, and they just come back with more friends and more friends to enjoy all the trails here and what we have to offer. It's a lot of fun.
Our day ended arriving back at Cedar Meadows, which is a beautiful resort just outside of Timmins, and they offer a very unique experience that I think if you're ever in the area, you really do need to take the opportunity to do. They take you on a wilderness tour, and you basically get in the back of a little wagon that's towed behind a tractor, and they haul you through their own kind of little wilderness reserve. And there's some elk, there's moose, there's bison, there's all kinds of animals out in this wilderness reserve, and you're in an open-sided wagon. They give you a bucket of feed, which is actually treats to these animals, and they just tow you around out in the woods. The animals all know that you're there. They all know that you have treats, and they want them. And honestly, I've never been that close to an elk or a moose, or definitely not a bison, in my whole life. The animals are really friendly, and their heads are enormous, way bigger than what you think their heads are going to be. So when they're sticking them in your face, it's kind of intimidating, but it was really fun. It was a really unique thing to be able to do, something I've never done before, something I would love to do again. It'd be great if you had kids, but it's fun to do even just, with your friends, because it's something you might not ever get to do again. So take the opportunity while you're there. This experience in Timmins has been really refreshing for me. It was relaxing, just being there by myself. The trails were, they were just fantastic. The accommodations, the food, everything that happened on this trip in Timmins was top notch. It is a snowmobile paradise, and it has become very apparent to me why Timmins is both the city with a heart of gold and an important focal point of snowmobiling in Ontario, because it's a fantastic place to ride.
If you like this video, post a comment and tell us what you think. Then click on this link to subscribe to SnowTrax TV here on the YouTube channel.